We're recording.
Oh, hi everybody. Hello. This is another solo episode brought to you by Habits and Hustle. And thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. This is not really something, it's not my nature to just be blabbing on and on. So it is my nature to blab on and on. It's not my nature to blab on and on a camera, just as a solo episode. So I'm very happy that I have my foil, Shanni, to sit with me, give me some encouragement and some just moral support, really is what it is.
Woo!
Thank you. I appreciate that. And today we're speaking about motivation. And the reason why we're speaking about motivation is I am not a big believer in the word motivation. And the reason why I wanted to bring this topic up is because the first question a lot of people always ask is, how do I find motivation? How do I get motivated? And I feel like motivation is a really not a great thing to rely on to get you to where you want to be, because motivation is very much it wanes, right? Some days we're motivated, some hours we're motivated, some minutes we're motivated, and then we're not. And so to rely on that, and that also goes with, I have to say, a nice sister or brother to motivation is willpower. Those are both things that you can only, you have it sometimes, and then what happens when you don't have it? You need to be able to do something even when you don't want to. And so with motivation, I'm never motivated. Actually, lately, I'm never motivated to work out. I'm never interested in working out because I'm so busy and I can think of a million excuses of why I don't have time and can't do it. But I don't allow that to happen because I really have gotten used to the byproduct effect, like my mental cognitive state, my focus, and it's just part of who I am and what I do. So if I'm motivated or not, it doesn't really make a difference. I'm still going to do what I need to do and get the job done. And that is why I think that this is a topic that I wonder why everyone just thinks that they have to like what they do all the time in order to actually do that thing.
I think there's a misconception because there's all that talk about, your passion, your love, this or that. And I think people who have a hard time doing things don't realize that a lot of people have a hard time doing things, but they just build the habit to do it.
No, you do it anyway.
But you have to build that habit.
Of course, first you build the habit, but then you do it anyway, even when you don't want to. And the thing is, you need to have a passion for a hobby. I mean, fine. But a lot of times in order to have the life that you envision for yourself and also just get things done and self-actualize, there's a lot of shit along the way, and that will always be there. That is not fun and it's not great, but you still do it because it needs to be done, and it's the catalyst for something else to be done, or it's a building block for something else. And it doesn't matter if it's something that you enjoy, if the after effects are something you enjoy. And that's how I view it. So when motivation is this big hashtag, motivational Monday, inspiration. This is a problem. And then what happens after the hour? When you go to a Tony Robbins seminar, right? It's super motivating because you get really riled up for something, and everyone's there, and everyone's yelling and cheering, and it's super exciting. But then what happens when you go home? I don't know this, by the way. I don't know the percentage, so don't quote me on this, but I am curious, what is the percentage of the people what happens when after that, and after the weekend or the seminar, what's the percentage of people who actually maintain and actually stay on that path? Or is it a big percentage of people who drop off because that motivation isn't there?
I'd love to find out.
Yeah, I don't know the percentage. I'm curious because I find that a lot of these things are super initially motivating, and then they kind of just wane unless you have another bigger purpose. So I guess the question really is what is your bigger purpose? What is your why you're doing it. I mean, that to me is how you how you have like sustainable, like real motivation, or I don't know if I wouldn't use the word
Discipline.
I wouldn't say even discipline. Discipline is something totally different, and we can talk about discipline. I think that what keeps you doing stuff even when you don't want to is that you have to have a reason why you're doing it. Like you have to have a desire that's so a part of you that you will do whatever it takes to get there. So I'm going to bring it back to an analogy of like fitness and weight loss, because that's my background. Obviously, well, not obviously, but to some people know that, is no matter how much you train somebody, and you can give people all the tools in the world, but that doesn't mean they're actually going to do any of them unless they actually want to do them, right? Like you can train them, you can cook for them, you can give them all the healthy tips and tricks and but at the end of the day, it's you have to actually want it for yourself to actually execute on those things. So to me, it's like you have to find within you what is, like, you got to have the desire and the will to actually do what it is you need to do, or you want that thing so badly to actually get the results that you want. But you can't be mad at the results you don't have by the work you did not do. So you want to put in the work with anything, even when you're not motivated.
Yeah, well, it's like the idea of like success is the ability to delay gratification. And you have to really want that success, no matter how late the gratification is going to come.
Delayed gratification is another one of these like things that I am a big believer in. I talk about delayed gratification in my book. I talk about motivation in my book too. But I feel like delayed gratification is kind of like the thing that is actually not talked about enough, right? Because everything requires a delayed gratification to get to where you need to go. Everything, if you're constantly in the moment, you're looking at what you want now versus what you want completely, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Right? I mean, that again, the analogy of fitness and weight loss is huge, right? Like,
yeah, it fits so perfectly
it fits
for this.
perfectly because
yeah.
everything is about delayed gratification. Like, I say this all the time. I love food. We both love food.
We both love food.
And if I had my druthers, by the way, I don't know if this is politically incorrect to say now, because everything is in this world now, but I really believe I'm like a really fat person living in like a regular sized person's body.
Oh, yes. Well, I am a fat kid living in a like normal adult's body, but I'm round at heart.
I'm like very robust at heart. And I think I like think about food 24 hours a day. Like if I'm eating breakfast, I think about when I'm eating lunch. When I'm eating lunch, I'm thinking about when I'm having my snack, when I'm having dinner. But because I know that this is a truism about me, I've like created these, I've created a system around me where I don't just like gobble everything in sight, because left to my own devices, I would do this. So that's why it's so important to like know what your triggers are, know what your like, your faults, like your default, I should say, is, and then reverse engineer so those things don't happen to you. Because I'm obsessed with food.
Wait, give us examples, because that's so like helpful. What are tips and tricks that you use to not gobble food?
Well, I gobble food. So for me, because a big part of it for me is like about the way I feel, not so much about how I look, but how I feel. Because again, left to my own devices, I can consume, and anybody who knows me and who's had any meal with me would attest to this 1,000,000%, is that I can consume more food than any human being. I don't care who you are. I don't care how big you are, how small you are. I will eat more than you no matter what, unless I have ways to I have a system to create that I don't do it. I have a huge appetite, first of all. My appetite is through the roof. So this is where it becomes, here's the rub.
So what's the system?
I'm leaving this. Okay, I'm going to tell you the system, but here's the rub, right? This is what people don't talk about, is that the truth is the more you work out, the more hungry you get.
Oh, yes. Okay? And cardio makes you starving.
But it's a delicate balance, right? Because if you work out really intensely, your appetite is even more my appetite is even more ravenous. So what ends up happening, I eat so many more calories and food that I otherwise wouldn't have had if I worked out more at a normal state. So the real question becomes, is it better to work out at a much more, at a lower state of intensity more often, so then your food, your appetite is more balanced, or is it better to work out super intensely and then you're just eating like an animal ferociously? So I'm constantly trying to balance these two things out because of my appetite. Now, what I was going to say is, so for me, because I love food, what I've done and part of my system, and I actually talk all about this in Bigger, Better, Bolder, is I eat the same breakfast every day. And the reason why I do that is because I put that meal on autopilot so I don't have to think about it. Because left to my own devices, I will overeat, and then I will be eating things that are probably not great for me. And then what happened is that it sets the tone for the rest of the day, and then I'm just like on a downhill spiral. Versus if I eat a really clean, solid, healthy, satiating breakfast, then it's a win. It's a big win. And then I'm much more apt to kind of maintain that for the rest of the day going forward. So just recently, and this is true, just recently I tweaked what that breakfast was. So for the last God knows how many years, I've been eating eggs with a grapefruit every day, which was like a great balance of protein. And then I had my grapefruit and my coffee. And then listen to this. I went and got my blood checked, and
because you said this on my podcast. That's what I was so confused about. I knew you switched it up.
And then what happened was I've become allergic.
Right.
To eggs. So even though I haven't really felt allergic to it, the blood coming back says I am allergic to it. So I think my body built up an intolerance to the eggs.
I thought you just went back to it when you said that you've been eating the same one, because I knew you told me that you switched it when you. Yes, I remember having this exact conversation asking about the eggs and the grapefruit, and then you said you switched it, and I was like, oh, are you back to eggs and grapefruit? So what's the new one?
So now I'm very into this shake just to kind of get away from the eggs for a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have I'll be able to go back and forth. So your body can become intolerant to something you eat way too much of. So, 25 years of eating the same breakfast, you would think that that's a long time. Even though, like I said, I didn't feel anything bad from it, which is interesting. But right. I thought maybe it had some other effects on other things. Who knows? So now I have a shake, which is banana, spinach. I have chocolate protein powder, ice, almond milk, and that is my breakfast.
That's solid.
Super solid.
But
yeah. But not, you don't want to, listen, I don't love drinking my calories, to be honest. I like to chew my food, but at least I really enjoy that. And so I've been doing that. So that's one tip. Another one is don't put yourself in places that you know you're going to gorge. Putting me in front of a buffet is like the worst thing you can possibly do. It will be the worst thing. You don't want to see it.
I want to see you at a Vegas buffet.
You do not want to see me at it.
So badly do I want to see you at a Vegas buffet. Me, you, the win.
I'm telling you, it's a terrible thing. There's been times when or if there's something I really love, I'm obsessed with carrot cake. And so instead of just having a one little piece of carrot cake, if it's in front of me, it's gone. So there's another thing I don't necessarily think that's always great for everybody, and that is this idea of cheat days. I think cheat days are kind of really bad for some people. If you know you have an addiction or you know that you can't control yourself, why would you put yourself in that situation? Because once those floodgates are open, then it's downhill.
Yeah, I don't do cheat days. I hate them because they make me. I have addictions to pizza and stuff. So I
love pizza and French fries.
I can't. It's a horrible slippery slope.
Oh, it's beyond. Do you know? I took my kids I took them bowling yesterday. My little Sydney, she got a quesadilla and French fries, and I'm like, this is what happened. I'm like, oh, those French fries look good. I'll have One. And I got that taste in my mouth, and within 12 seconds, the entire plate of French fries was like inhaled by me. Like I think she went to the bathroom. She comes back to the bathroom. There was not one French fry left on the plate.
Aww.
Because I was like, oh my God, like I don't even, I like go in it. It's like an out of body experience. And I literally go and it's gone. And so I don't want to even put myself in those situations because it ends up just being really bad.
Okay, but what did Sydney say? Was she like, "Oh, that's okay. That's okay."
No,
Mom.
she was like, "Where are my French?" She screamed at me. I think not only did she scream at me, I think Dylan tattletaled on me, or someone did. I don't know.
What? You got ratted out?
I did.
That's brutal.
And I literally, I'm not kidding you. Within 3.5 minutes, those French fries were like basically like inhaled. And that just is one example. I can give you a million examples where I leave most dinners. Like, if the food, like with my, I gotta wear like elastic pants or like a big baggy sweater so I can open the first button because I have no ability to kind of control myself. So I try not to put myself in those situations. That's a trick. Or I eat beforehand so then I'm not starving when I go somewhere.
Smart. We do that for Shabbat dinners. My dad always used to tell me that, like, because he always said, don't come to the table hungry, especially if it's like a family dinner, because you're trying to have a conversation too.
You know what's really funny? You said that.
Miserable because it's when you came to Shabbat dinner at our house.
When I came to your house for Shabbat dinner,
because we're starving.
Oh my, no! Well, your aunts from Montreal, they made all those challahs.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, I'm gonna have it was warm, the challah. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have one little piece of the challah. I kid you, and there was like 7 challahs made. I think I ate 6 of those 7 challahs. I kept on going back.
Yeah, I actually believe that. Yeah.
No,
I remember seeing it. I
remember?
I literally remember how much of the challah you ate. I was like, damn.
No. I love how you say
Challahs,
the
challahs, plural.
A million. That's my problem. So there you go. I don't know how we started talking about that.
What do we start with this whole thing?
We're talking about motivation, but then we kind of like took it on we took it down the slippery slope of food, since this is what happened. And by the way, I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure a lot of us have like, food issues or like the inability to get out of our own way, I should say it. So that is why it's super important to create these, not roadblocks is the wrong word, but to create these plans and structures around you so you don't fall. And, that so happens to be one of mine. I'm sure, you may have another one that you kind of get in your own way with. And so it's about having some sort of self-awareness and insight on who you are really, like in a real way, not just like bullshit, like, yeah, I'm this way, I'm that way, but really know yourself to a place where you can be honest. And then you can create a structure or plans around you so that you don't fall, so you can kind of be the most productive, best version of yourself and get to where you want to be. For me, it's really important for me to feel physically strong. It helps me feel mentally strong. It's really important for me to work out regularly, because even if I don't like the workout while I'm doing it, like I said, how I feel afterwards, the sense of focus, cognitive ability, feeling strong, feeling like accomplished that I did it, to me, those are all that to me is the win more than anything. So I have to put these other things in place. So I will do those things. So eating that breakfast in the morning that's super solid, that I don't think about, and makes me feel like, okay, then I'm setting myself off in a great time, in a great way, will just allow me to kind of, continue the day or continue whatever else I need to get done to be the most productive that I want to be.
I love that. I always leave a sweater. I know you never think that I get cold, and I generally don't, but in the morning I am always freezing, and I find that it's hard for me to wake up and get out of bed because I'm so cold, and I rather stay in my bed. So I always sleep with like a hoodie right next to me, so then I can put that on and then I can get out of bed. And when I don't have a hoodie next to me, I end up like snoozing my alarm and sleep in for like another hour. So that's like been one of my like systems that I've had in place for years.
I have another suggestion for you.
Please
take it or leave it.
Turn the heater on.
Turn the heater on. Like, God forbid with you, I know you hate the heat. Or put the alarm away from your bed, so it's forcing you to get your ass out of bed.
I've done that.
And do that.
I get back into bed. I swear to God, I've literally done that, and I'll just get back into bed because it's the cold that
my
keeps me
God.
in bed.
So
It's
then
not the tiredness.
Put the freaking heater on. By the way,
then it's too hot.
Okay, let
and
me
then
just
it hurts my throat, and then it's awful.
you have no idea how this is a back and forth with the two of us. I literally am sitting here shivering,
Like a
literally
married
shivering
couple.
in my own home because God forbid I have the thermostat at a place where it's actually
She
warm.
likes it at 75 degrees, you guys.
I'd be happy with 72.
75 degrees is her preferred temperature. So I think you guys, anybody
72.
listening to this can understand why I would not appreciate
Absolutely
75.
not.
75 is crazy.
So first of all, I sleep in 68 or 69. I don't spend my
Oh,
day.
you do? You sleep in 69?
Yes, because you're supposed to be sleeping at a place that
good
is
to know.
that's cool.
That's good to know.
But no one spends their day like operating at that temperature. It's impossible.
People do.
No, they
people
don't.
really do.
I don't believe
69 is a super normal temperature to like exist at.
If you want to freeze your ass off, I'm literally sitting here with my teeth literally chattering. Like I'm like like freezing, okay? Freezing. I think maybe some guys don't feel it. What? I don't know what girl likes it that cold. I don't know one
Okay, but
female.
to be fair, I did put the heater on at 71. It's not working for some reason.
First of all, my heating
Your
is
heating is
broken.
not- yeah,
That's
it's
why
not
I have all
working.
these little like heating,
Mini
little,
things.
what do you call
Yeah.
them? Like a little,
the little
like those little, like those portable heaters,
Yes,
I guess you
yes.
call them. Like the Dyson one, which is really good.
the
But
not radiators. Shoot, what are they
No,
called?
it's a
gonna
heater.
kill me. It's
It's called the heater.
It's a heat lamp. No, it's
it's called the heater.
It's a heater, but there's a word for it. Space heater.
No, but I think it's Space Heater is an actual brand name.
Is it?
Yeah.
Like Kleenex.
Yeah. I think Space Heater is called a Space Heater.
So they're like mini heaters.
Yeah, they're called heaters. Portable heaters. I don't know why she's having a problem with the word heater, but that's what it is.
Because like a heater is like, the heater in the house, and you have a little like adorable heater.
Okay,
Which
it's
okay.
called heat. How about this? I'll take any kind of heat. Literally, as I'm sitting here
fire.
doing this podcast, I'll take a fire. I mean, freezing. Linda, how is it cold? By the way, Linda, who works with
But
me.
Linda also said, and I
Okay,
repeat,
she's
I am
wearing
always freezing.
No,
and
she's
I
wearing
repeat,
she's
I'm
also
always
wearing
freezing.
a sweatshirt and a parka
wearing a
and
sweater.
boots
I'm wearing
and
a sweater.
freezing over there, chattering her teeth as well, like me.
What, Dylan, what are you feeling right now? Are you cold, Dylan? See, Dylan
So,
said hot,
okay, let me-
hot. Sorry, what was that? Dylan said hot, and he's a small person. He's a smaller
Okay,
human.
but what you people don't know about Dylan is that he is adverse to like.
Okay, but what you don't know about Linda is
what
that
he
she said she's always cold.
Dylan wears shorts in the winter. Okay, he doesn't own a pair of pants. It's a fight
the
with
winter
them.
is California. It's an LA winter.
Okay,
This is not
this
like
is-
the Canadian winter.
Okay, this is. By the way, true, but I will say this: it has been unusually
the funniest episode.
Okay, it's been unusually cold in California for like 3 weeks already. It's been raining
it was 80
every day.
degrees on Christmas.
Okay, it was not okay.
It was literally 80 degrees.
Okay, for a day. Okay, listen. Okay, I promise you can. If you are watching this and not listening, I promise you. Okay, my hands are icicles. My lips are technically right now. They're actually blue.
Okay, but they're always blue. Her lips are always blue, you guys. This is not like I didn't freeze her. I just like I put you in the freezer.
No, she rolls her eyes like I'm going to be ruining her equipment. God forbid if it's
Equipment,
by
and
the way
also
over
myself.
70.
I'm not trying to like overheat while I'm working. This
Oh
is
my
like my
gosh,
God.
you have no idea.
75?
She wants to live.
75.
You should get
75.
You should live in one of those
when
freezers.
It's 75 outside, we come in, we put on the AC to 68. Like
No
that's
one
what-
does.
Yes, people
Okay,
do that
some
when it's
people-
75.
Not when it's actually freezing cold. Okay, listen.
Listen.
Do you live in like a meat locker? Like, what is your like? Do you actually live in a meat locker? Do you live in a
but
butcher's home?
Okay, you would. Okay, so it's funny because if you think I like to keep things cold, you would die at my dad's room. It's freezing.
How cold?
Literally in the 50s. I kid you not. It's legitimate. And he said he recently bumped it
wow.
up to like early 60s or whatever. And I'm like, oh wow, look at you improving. It's an ice box. His room is an ice box.
Well, yours is a meat locker.
No,
so you guys
his
are
is an
perfectly
actual.
matched.
No. His is too. See, there's the thing. I have a limit. Like I think 68 to 70 is a perfect degree of temperature.
No. Let me be
That's,
very
like, great
clear.
to me.
Let me be very clear.
But it is-
68 to 70 is wonderful to sleep in, and it's actually like not bad. Like sometimes.
Yeah.
But
68 to 70 is great.
okay. But not at night when it's dark and dank and like there's no like
Dark and
it's dark right now and it's been
dank. Did you say
raining.
the
It's
word
been
dank?
raining. Dank.
Like
It's
a dank meme.
It feels like very like moist and humid.
Did you mean damp?
Dank and damp are very similar.
Are they?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Dank
Wait,
and damp.
I've only ever heard of dank in the like slang way of like, oh, that's so dank. Like, you know
What's
what I mean?
dank? You know?
Oh my God, like dank memes, like super cool, like dank, like dope, dank.
I've no idea.
That is so funny.
I'm too old for you. Okay. The point is, I don't know what she's talking about. The point is,
we like
I'm
68
cold.
to 70. 68 to 70 is
This
great.
is so boring for anybody
great.
who's listening to
I think
this.
that they're actually gonna love this.
Oh, I don't know. I think it's like
We're gonna get people who either are really team you on this or really team me, and they're gonna be like aggressive about it. Join the Facebook group to discuss it, please.
Yeah, let us know what temperature you like to live and migrate in. That would be amazing. Getting back to my point of motivation, don't rely on it. That's it. Bye.
Join the Facebook group. Thanks.